Okay, Tortured Toffee here with Mason. Um, I originally seen you, Mason, on TikTok, but I believe you have got a YouTube as well.
Yeah, oh, by the way, hello guys. I should have said that first. The TikTok is on a much larger scale. I believe it is a lot easier to. I don't do this for the numbers, but it's just to get the numbers more naturally on TikTok.
Yeah,
Making reaction videos for each game as it comes along for Palace.
yeah.
Um, and my YouTube channel is I'd say quite a bit older than my
Oh,
TikTok.
really?
It's 3 years old now, my YouTube channel, when the TikTok's been going properly, I would say, for about a year and a half. So
Okay.
so I've just kept it as a very consistent basis, my channel. Just doing reviews for away games. I don't go to many away games. Vlogs for home games,
Yeah.
and the odd sort of just transfer video. I did a lot of videos when the transfer window was about to shut, because there was a lot of news for
Yeah.
us. Yeah, that's it really with the
I'll admit, I find TikTok a lot easier. I mean, I only started my YouTube channel the start of this season. I've got like 68 followers or something like that. So yeah, I'm finding it hard to reach people on YouTube. And even when you do a video on TikTok asking people to cross over, it doesn't really work, does it? So yeah, hopefully, slowly but surely, I can build it. But
yeah.
we'll see. We'll see. I mean, getting people on like yourself does help, so I really do appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah, no worries, mate. No worries.
Okay. So how do you think Crystal Palace have started this season to what you expected from them?
Well, obviously, I've heard a lot of opinions from Palace fans who have contacted me on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, um, who reckoned at the start of this season that we would get into Europe just based off the form that we had at the end of last season. I think we won 6 of our last 7,
Oh, I
including beating
remember you being really good. Yeah, I remember you being really good.
Manchester United 4-0, beating Aston
Yeah,
Villa
yeah,
5-0. Brilliant results. I think our first game after getting rid of Roy Hodgson was against Everton last season, and we drew 1-1 at your place as well, which I feel like was actually quite a good result, to be honest, with
yeah,
the
yeah.
football we were playing under Roy Hodgson last season as well. But if you would have told me at the end of last season that you'd only really have 3 points after your first 5 games, maybe I'm being a little bit ungrateful here, because we could be in Everton's shoes.
Exactly.
In the bottom 3, you've lost 2-0 leads. It's not been looking good for you guys. And the
Thanks for
thing is,
reminding me.
yeah, looking from the outside in anyway. But the thing
Yeah,
with us is that we've got a point against Chelsea, something we've not done since 2017. Correct me if I'm wrong, anyone that watches this, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. Against Manchester United last week, it was a 0-0 draw. I think we should have lost. Like, if you watch the game, we were
yeah,
terrible in the first half an hour. Man U could have been out of sight. But we're looking at other games where there's been quite a lot of excuses, because the Brentford game, you had the very poor refereeing decision with the free kick. West Ham at home, it was the excuse of, it's Charlie Riyad's debut, it's Daichi Kamada's debut, let's
yeah,
give them time to settle in. But my whole thought process was, well, West Ham have had a brilliant transfer window. They signed Fulkrug, Wan-Bissaka. No one's telling them about adjusting, but as soon as we
yeah,
lose, obviously we've had the 2, I would say, good performances in the Carabao Cup against Norwich and QPR, which has been okay. But then when we got the point at Stamford Bridge, everyone was thinking, well, this is where we push on. Very similar pattern happened under Patrick Vieira when he first came in. We got the terrible loss at Chelsea on opening day, then we drew at home to Brentford, and then we come back twice to draw against West Ham. And we was like, right, okay, we can push on. And we did, because we beat Tottenham 3-0 after the international break.
yeah.
Got a very good string of performances there. But then when we went out against Leicester, and it was Lacroix's debut and Nketiah's debut, started going 2-0 down, and all of a sudden, we're all doing the same thing. More excuses. No disrespect to Everton, but I'm kind of starting to think now, because after this game as well, we've got Liverpool at home.
Yeah,
Then it's international break. I'm starting to think now that if we don't pick up 3 points, something we've not done at Goodison Park since 2014, by the way, it's been
Really?
10
That
years
long?
since we last beat you at Goodison Park.
Wow.
Been
I thought
8 years.
it was not that long ago because I feel like Crystal Palace sometimes can be a bit of a bogey team for Everton. So, yeah,
Well, at Selhurst Park, maybe, but at
yeah.
Goodison Park, you've been our bogey team, to be honest.
Yeah.
And yeah, when I'm looking at it, right, with the Liverpool game, and then we've got the international break, where we are in the table now, we could go into the international break in the relegation zone if we don't start picking up points, especially
Yeah.
tomorrow. And this is the sort of game where in previous years, it is a game we've needed to win to get somewhere. I remember when you guys came back from 2-0 down
Oh,
under
yeah.
Frank Lampard. Brilliant win for you guys, but for us, no one really looked at our point of view because it was a massive thing for Everton.
Yeah.
Where if we'd have won the game, we'd have solidified a top 10 finish, something we hadn't done in, I think it was 7 years in that time. And then we, dropped a 2-0 lead, and then we beat Man United on the final day, and then we didn't finish in the top half.
Yeah.
We were looking back at that game going, oh my word, last season, we took the lead from Jordan Ayew in Glasgow went in the dugout. He was sat in the stands. So it was Roy Hodgson's, assistant in the dugout
Right.
for the
Okay.
game. We drew 1-1, took the lead through Jordan Ayew, and then we had a massive blunder from a corner, and Onana got the equaliser. And again, I was just sitting there, and I was like, that's 2 points dropped.
Yeah.
Like, it's a massive bogey team for us, Everton, at Goodison Park.
See, I can understand that mindset of what you're saying because after our poor start, like last week away at Leicester, I kind of felt like only 3 points is like acceptable here. Like, even though we got a point, and a lot of fans were like, well, it's a point away from home. I was thinking, but the start we've had, we can't be looking at like a point as like a good thing at the moment. We need 3. And I suppose that's the way you're thinking too.
Yeah, especially with the game against Leicester as well.
Yeah,
at home.
2-2, wasn't it?
Yeah, the 2-2 draw, going 2-0 down. And
Yeah.
like, if anyone has seen my vlog on my YouTube channel, I film my reaction to the Mateta penalty to make it 2-2, and I barely celebrated because I'm like, everyone around me is acting like we just won the league.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if you'd have gone into the game, if you'd have told me before the game 2-2, I wouldn't have been happy with that.
No.
And like, yeah, we pushed for the win, but it was too little too late. The way we started the first half, and by the way, don't mean to put you or myself off track here, but Palace have not scored a goal in the first half in the Premier League this season yet.
Right, well, that's going to happen tomorrow now, isn't it? Thanks for that.
I think we've scored, how many goals is it now in the Premier League this season? Because we got 1 against Brentford, 1 against Chelsea, and 2 against. We scored 4 Premier League goals this season, all come in the second half. So if Everton start on the front foot, then we could be leading ourselves into all kinds of trouble.
Well, to be honest with you, we absolutely murdered Bournemouth for 87 minutes and still managed to get beat 3-2. So
yeah,
it's not over. Even if we go 2-0 up, it's not over. So
knowing our luck, it will be. You go 2-0 up against us, you'll be all right. Not being funny, it's happened twice now. I think Sean Dyche will be able to, it can't be third time unlucky, surely. Can it? I mean,
do you know, at this point, I haven't got a clue what to say, what to think. I go the match just hopeful at the moment. There's no confidence in me whatsoever. So I don't know. I suppose you feel the same.
Well, yeah, like, because we're looking at progression, because we've been in the Premier League since 2013. And there's been a lot of videos, especially in the last season, that was made about this, where for the last, it was our 11th season in a row, signing the best Premier League record. We've always been a yo-yo club from like the early 2000s. It was always going up, going down. 2013, get promoted, and we've been in the Premier League since. But every single time, it's been 11th, 12th, 14th, 15th. Not really pushing up there. Now, I've had a lot of criticism over the last year or so, because I've been very vocal about this, from fans of the outside and other Palace fans, basically saying, like, we should be lucky that we're in the Premier League.
No, you can't feel like that. You've got to try to compete, haven't you?
Exactly. Like, why should I settle for my team to not be the best? I understand we haven't got the resources like a
Yeah,
Man City, like a Man United, and Arsenal, all these teams that are finishing in the top four, Europa League, Conference League, all that kind of thing. But you know what? So I'm just gonna just be a fan of the club and just sit there and accept these. I would say right now, if I was sat here in 2016, 2017, and I was saying to myself, and I was saying, oh, we finished 14th again. This is rubbish. Da, 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 da. Then I think the criticism is quite acceptable because we were still on a
quite
rebuild kind of
fresh.
thing. We were
Yeah,
still trying to build a fresh team in the Premier League. We kept changing managers and whatever. Then when Roy Hodgson came in, he was in for like 4 or 5 years on the trot, and it was the same old. It might be a strong word, but the same old rubbish.
yeah,
You know, the same old performances, old players, putting trust in too many players. That was
yeah,
his trouble. So yeah, we're looking at progression, and right now, 5 games in, I think we're 16th in the league. We've seen teams that are pushing above us again, like obviously our rivals. Every single opposition fan's questioned me about this with our rivalry with Brighton. Why is this a rivalry? And all this and that. But we're seeing them climb above us. They're unbeaten so far this season. Same as Forest.
Can I ask you something about the Brighton rivalry? Is the genuine, like, from your side, is the genuine, like, hate there? Or is it just, like, more of a friendly rivalry? Or I mean, I don't... All I know from it is I had... Do you know Luke Links, the Brighton fan? I
No.
had him on first game of the season, and he doesn't speak well at Crystal Palace, obviously, if it's a rivalry, but yeah, I just want to know how it is because you don't hear much about it.
Well, no, you don't hear much about it until the game's right in front of you.
Yeah.
And look, all I know is that it was some sort of clash between managers back in the 70s. So for the older
All right,
fans,
okay.
it is more of a bitter rivalry. For me, it's going to sound really bad because I'm a Palace fan, but I'm kind of following it because I have to. Like,
Yeah.
because I'm a Palace fan and everyone hates Brighton, I'm not saying that I like Brighton. I don't like Brighton. I don't like them anyway. Even if there wasn't a rivalry there, they'd be one of the teams I don't like. For some reason, I don't know why. Maybe because of Glenn Murray. Like, obviously, he was a brilliant player for us and was also a brilliant player for them. And you've got the Brighton fans saying, "No, it's better for us" and all that jazz. But yeah, that's my stance on the whole Brighton thing. Is that I don't like them, but I see Millwall or Charlton or even like the more southern Premier League teams in London, like a Fulham or a West Ham or a Chelsea. I see them as more of a rival than Brighton. But the thing is with Millwall and Charlton especially is that we ain't played them for like 10 years since we've been in the Premier League.
Yeah.
They've not come up. We've played them in the odd cup game. But apart from that, like, you know, Brighton have always been there. Brighton have been there since 2017. So they've been there for 7 years now. So obviously it's going to be more of a rivalry there. And the fact they got Europa League a couple of years ago, they, were on at us. And that was my most viewed TikTok, yeah, by the way.
Oh, really?
Reacting to, because they beat Southampton, who were already relegated on I think it was the third to last game of the season. And it confirmed them Europa League football. And yeah, there's a TikTok of me going mental.
Do you know what I find on TikTok? It's always the videos where you're angry or you say something controversial. They're the ones that'll blow up. But when you're actually trying to talk sensibly about football, no one wants to know.
Yeah, that's the thing. And people wonder why sometimes. Like, people say to me, like, "You're so negative all the time." Da, 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 da. I don't do this for views. To me, it's a bonus.
Yeah.
Like, the views are a bonus. I go on TikTok, YouTube to express my thoughts on the game. Whether it gets 30 views, 1 million views, which is what the Brighton one got, that's like, that's just a bonus to me.
I'd say similar for me. I like making more friends with my own fans. Like, I've got to know a lot more people and connect with a lot more people, which I really enjoy. But also, I use it to vent.
Yeah,
it's kind of like therapy. You just get it out.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Especially straight after the game when you've maybe battered the team and lost 1-0, and it's so frustrating, and you can just come on and like get something out, and I find it really does help. Like,
Yeah. Like the thing is with me, like you said about like communicating more with your own fans. Like I've had a few people come up to me in the stadium. I go to every single home game that I can go to because I mentioned before we made the video that I work at Tottenham
yeah,
now. So obviously I try to get to every home game I can. Tottenham have been very good to me actually. I think I've been there since January. I've only missed 3 games at Selhurst Park um, since, so that's very good. But I've had fans come up to me, especially when we played QPR in the Carabao Cup. I went to that game, and I think I was stopped about 4 or 5 times. People wanting pictures and all this and that, and talking about the game. And it's nice because
it is nice. It is nice.
some of the hate that you get, right, is people just hiding behind a keyboard.
Yeah, it's
They
always
know
someone
it
with no
can't.
face as
They
well.
know it can't really harm them unless if they put something really, really bad.
Yeah,
But you know, if a fan came up to me like the other day at the game against Leicester, I was in the bar and there was 2 older people who stopped me and said, "I've seen your YouTube. Da, 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 da. I disagree with this." I have a friendly conversation with them. I have a quick pint with them. I'll walk off and watch the game. That's fine by me. If you
that's
disagree
how
with
it should
something,
be, though. They should. If someone doesn't agree, yeah, and you can't expect everyone to agree with you anyway. But if someone doesn't agree with you, it doesn't have to be like you don't have to have controversy right there, do you? You can just talk it out. It doesn't need to be aggressive and I think that's what some people don't get.
mm,
You think if you don't agree with their opinion, then you're attacking them, but it's not. It's not that.
nah. But yeah. Anyway, back to the game.
Yeah. So anyway, could I just ask? Obviously, you've spoke a little bit about Everton. After the start Everton have had and the recent troubles we've had with points deductions and ownerships and all things like that, do you see Everton staying up in the Premier League this season?
Well, naturally, I would say yes because it's your last season at Goodison Park.
Yeah.
You don't want to see your own team getting relegated and then unveil the new stadium when you're playing, for example, I don't know, Preston in the
Yeah.
Championship. So, that in itself, I think morally you should stay up. But in reality, I predicted at the start of the season for you lot to finish. I think I said 13th, 12th. I think I said 12th actually, just below
I
Brighton.
said I'd be happy somewhere between 10th and 14th. Like, and some people were saying, well, you've got to aim higher than that. But I was just being realistic. I think
Yeah,
the most we could finish is somewhere around there. And that was even pushing it for me.
yeah. Like there's no the thing is with me, like if I was an Everton fan and I was in your shoes, if I've watched you battle relegation for the last 2-3 seasons, if you're looking for a season where you push on a little bit, you can't expect to go into the top half. Not you can't just say, "Oh,
No.
Everton finished 8th or even like Conference League." You got to go realistic and say, right, we push 10th to 14th, maybe have a couple of consistent seasons there,
Yeah,
then we can try and move up the table a bit into the top
exactly.
half. And yeah, so look, the thing is with Everton going down is that I think it would be incredibly damaging on the club's reputation, especially with Liverpool as well, which is
Yeah.
like on one hand you're seeing Liverpool, fly high and they're in the Champions League under a new manager. They
And
look brilliant.
always challenging.
Well, yeah, exactly. And then you got Everton who fighting relegation and whatever. I know like the Brighton Palace thing, it doesn't really compare because Brighton haven't been going for league titles. They got Europa League once.
Yeah.
But like that season they got Europa League and we finished in a low league. I think it was 11th or 12th for the like 10th year in a row it felt like. And it's that jealousy there. And
Yeah.
also with
I don't think it's just jealousy. It's irritation as well because you see you get it more from the opposition fans and you have to have something to come back with, don't you? And sometimes when you're fighting relegation, what have you got to come back with? Do you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
That's the hard thing.
Yeah, and also with I have no doubt though that if you went down, I think you'd come straight back up. But
See, I don't, and I think a lot of Evertonians don't, and that's why we're more scared of going down.
really,
Yeah.
Oh, well, obviously you know a lot more about Everton than I do.
Yeah.
Like I can't lie, I do have a little bit of a soft spot for Everton. I'm
I
nowhere near an
appreciate
Everton
that.
fan, but I do root for Everton, and I've got to keep quiet because two people in my flat are Liverpool fans, so I've got to keep quiet when I say that. But I don't mind Everton.
Yeah.
So yeah, but in terms of you going down as well, as I was going to say, I've been watching the Premier League since because I came into football quite late. So I'm 19. My first Palace game was in 2011, and I went to a few games, and then 14-15 was my first season ticket season. So this is my 10th year now, and um, I've seen a few shocking relegations, like Newcastle getting 38, 37 points and still going down.
I think West Ham got 40 plus one year and still went down.
I think that was before my time, because West
Yeah.
Ham have always been in the Prem since
I
Palace.
think there may have been more in the Premier League back then too. I think there might have been 22 teams back then.
Oh well, but I've seen obviously Newcastle, Sunderland finishing bottom. I think that was one of the more shocking relegations than I've seen in my time. But I think Everton going down would top it. I think if
Oh,
Everton were to go down, I think it'd be the most shocking relegation I've ever seen.
yeah. I do. I agree with you. I do, and it's just scary because I don't even want to think about it, to be honest. But on to Liverpool, who you mentioned, and you are playing next week. And I'll try and keep quiet because I know your flatmates are Liverpool fans. But
Don't worry, one of them's not here. It's just one. It's just the other one.
I feel like Crystal Palace seem to spoil Liverpool's party a lot. I think Steven Gerrard's last game at Anfield was against Crystal Palace. I think
Yeah,
he beat them.
3-1.
They were going for the league one year, and I think they were 3-0 up, was he? Was he 3-0? And you
That was
come back 3-3.
that was the season before Gerrard's last season. So yeah,
Yeah,
2 years in a row we done them. I think we had 13-14, which was the 3-3.
yeah,
Palace fans called it Cristamble.
yeah.
Um,
We do.
yeah. 14-15, we beat them 3-1 at our place with Jedinak's brilliant free kick. And then we got the win at Gerrard's last game at Anfield.
Yeah,
15-16, we beat them 2-1 at their place. 16-17, we did it again with Christian Benteke going back to Anfield and getting a brace. Then Liverpool sort of spoiled. Well, we ain't really got a party most of the time, but they used to come to Selhurst Park every time. I mean, we had that 7-0 in COVID. If you remember that, the 7-0,
yeah,
like that was atrocious to watch. But then you look at last season, the 1-0 win with Eze scoring. I don't know how we managed to do that. Like, because that was just like so mad. Like how Liverpool squandered so many chances that they had. I was watching it in the pub in Wembley, and I was just like, I was like this for the whole game because it was mental. But and last season as well, when we played them at Selhurst Park, it took Jordan Ayew to get sent off. It was 1-0 up at the time. Salah instantly comes on and gets an equaliser. I don't know why he didn't start. I don't know. But then Sam Johnston, our goalkeeper, got subbed off. Remy Matthews comes on, who has never played for Palace in his life. In the 86th minute, 91st minute, Harvey Elliott scores from outside the box. What can you do? But we played quite well. So
yeah,
against Liverpool at home, I'm not. Well, I did say earlier that if we weren't to win this game tomorrow, then we could see ourselves in a relegation zone, and I don't doubt that. But I still think against Liverpool, we can put in a good performance because we have done in recent years.
yeah,
And you find in our record, like I said in the start, with the 3 points we have got, one of them was against United, one of them was against Chelsea, and the other one was a comeback thing against Leicester. But the more smaller teams in the Premier League, and I know that can be a harsh term to use, and I don't
No,
mean
I,
I don't
I
mean
can't
this
argue with it at the moment.
because no Premier League club is small. That's how I see it. No Premier League
No,
game is easy.
I agree with you. Everyone in the Premier League deserves to be there. So
Yeah. So what I'm trying to say is against the bigger teams, you look at
yeah,
how we've got wins against City at a better rate than most of the smaller clubs. We
yeah,
got the win in 2021 under Vieira. We got a point against them in 2020. The 3-2 with Townsend getting an absolute banger against them. We do better against the bigger teams. That's why tomorrow, I'm seeing it as a more of a don't mess it up, don't lose.
Yeah,
As long as we don't lose, it'll be very reactionary. If we draw the game, I won't be happy for but then when I sit down and think about it, I'll be like, you know what? It's okay. It's
yeah,
okay. We got a point. Let's go to the Liverpool game. Because then after that as well, after the international break, we've got Forest away, a team that are unbeaten so far. Tottenham at home, not going to be easy. And then we've got Aston Villa in the last 16 in the Carabao Cup. So,
right. So if I was to offer you, you don't beat Everton, but you beat Liverpool, would you take that?
when you say don't beat, do you mean get a point or lose tomorrow?
We'll say get a point because you're not going to take a defeat, are you? So,
Well, no, I won't. No. Well, if we lose and beat Liverpool, then I might reconsider. But I can't see that. I can't really see that happening, to be honest with you. Get a point and beat Liverpool. Of course, I'll be happy with that. Very happy.
but also, if I just went really dark, it's because the battery's gone on the light. Sorry. So.
I did wonder.
Right. Okay. So, any score predictions for tomorrow?
Okay, so fact we've not beaten Everton at Goodison Park since 2014. And I assume this is going on your TikTok as well, because I've seen a few people do the same thing on your TikTok. So
Yeah, I will clip it up.
yeah, this is going to be picked up and go on TikTok, right? So I don't want to get this wrong because people will slate me in the comments. I think the majority of Everton Palace games at Goodison Park in the Premier League, I can remember about 3 or 4 have ended 1-1. So I'm going to be very safe and say 1-1.
Okay, and have you got a first goal scorer?
First goal scorer. Now, there's been a lot of talk over the last week whether Ismaila Sarr should start over Mateta for Palace. He's put in very good performances throughout the whole season, only made 15, 20-minute cameos off the bench. Even in the Carabao Cup, he wasn't given a starting opportunity. And I think that he will start over Mateta. Oh, there we go.
Peppa Pig just came on behind.
I think he'll start over Mateta and take the lead. I think we'll take the lead for Ismaila Sarr, and that might be very bold of me, and I might look very stupid come 2:00 when the lineups come out. But I'm going to say Ismaila Sarr to score first for Palace, and in typical Palace fashion, will give away a goal in the last 10 minutes, and I will say for Everton, Iliman and Jai. Why not?
Yeah. He's the guy at the moment for us. He seems to be the only one playing well. So yeah, I'll agree with you.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to stay more positive myself because we're at home. If we were away, I might say 1-1 myself, but I'm going to say 2-1 because I don't expect us to keep a clean sheet because we just don't seem to be able to do that anymore. And I'll go with the first goal scorer being Ndiaye, same as what you said. Palace goal scorer, I'll say Mateta. I think he scored a few past us, to be honest with you.
Yeah, he has. Yeah. You're going to make me look very stupid now when the lineups come out and it's just Mateta and Ismaila Sarr's on the bench again. Yeah.
I'm only going with him because I can remember him scoring against us, so I thought I'd just go with him.
Yeah.
So if you was going to take one player from Everton starting 11,
yeah,
and he has to start in Crystal Palace's starting 11, who would you take?
Okay. I've got to really think about this one because, with all due respect, you are in the bottom 3. Right, I wouldn't take Calvert-Lewin, that's a certain.
Don't you like Calvert-Lewin, no?
Well, yeah. Anyone from the defence? I think our defence actually quite solid. Gay, Lacroix.
Not Branthwaite? You wouldn't take Branthwaite when he's fit?
Well, yeah, that's a maybe. I think that's a maybe. Obviously, Lacroix has only had 3 starts for Palace so far this season. So maybe he's not at his full best, you know. Chris Richards is out injured for the game tomorrow as well, but Trevor Chalobah's going to be in the squad.
Okay.
So that could be the excuse tomorrow if we lose that it's his debut. You know. Who would I take though? Would it be harsh of me to take Pickford over Dean Henderson?
I don't think it's harsh. I mean, you're picking England's number 1. I don't see why that would be harsh.
Over Dean Henderson. Look, no disrespect to Dean Henderson. He played brilliantly against Manchester United a week ago. He was my man of the match. He saved us a point. If it wasn't for him, if we'd have had Johnston still at the club, or God forbid, Matt Turner in goal, it would not have been the same. So yeah, but the thing is with Henderson is that he has made mistakes, and Jordan Pickford, I remember in a couple of performances. I'm going back a long time, and people are going to call me deluded for going back this far. But I remember Liverpool when you drew 0-0, and he made one save onto the post from Salah, I think it was, or onto the bar or something like that. Brilliant performance in that game. And obviously, I've been watching Pickford for England as well. And I think I would take him over. I wouldn't take any of your outfielders over ours.
Not even in GI.
Jai, attacking midfielder, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
pretty much, yeah.
over Eze or
Yeah,
Kamada.
I see your point. Yeah, I see your point.
Like, yeah, I'd go
You
with
could have both of them though.
Pickford over Henderson.
Okay. Do you know why you're talking about Jordan Pickford? I feel like he gets a lot of unjustified hate when he plays for Everton. But what people don't realise is when he's playing for Everton, he hasn't got England's back four in front of him or England's midfield in front of him. He's got Everton's defence and Everton's midfield. So
Yeah.
people might point out and say, oh, he's not as good when he plays for Everton, but he's not going to look as good when he plays for Everton. And I just wanted to get that off my chest, sorry, because I feel like he does get unnecessary.
Yeah. It's like when Sam Johnston was at West Brom and we got him on a free in that summer when they got relegated. And everyone was saying, oh, he was on a free, but I feel like I've been robbed of my money. Sam Johnston's not a good goalkeeper and all this. I'm thinking, yeah. And I'm not saying our defence is brilliant because it ain't. But
Yeah.
West Brom's defence that season was a lot worse. They had Carl Bartley, Dara O'Shea, Darnell Furlong. When we signed Johnston, I think we just signed Gay, just signed Anderson. We had Tyrek Mitchell and, Joel Ward, Nathaniel Klein, one of the two. A lot better than their defence, and he played brilliantly for Palace. The thing is with Sam Johnston at West Brom is that he was getting about 10, 15 shots at him a game. You can't expect him to keep them all out.
No, of course not. That's the problem, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
And if you're getting so many shots at you through a game, you can't be expected to now and again not make a slight mistake. And I know a goalkeeper making a mistake 9 times out of 10 will lead to a goal, but it's a pressure a goalkeeper seems to have that an outfield player kind of gets away with. I'd say so. Yeah.
100%.
But I love Jordan Pickford, so I am going to defend the man.
Yeah, of course you. Yeah.
So
that's the thing
right,
with
okay.
me. That's the thing with me that I don't. I think this is one of my mistakes, especially on TikTok, is that I don't hold back criticizing, and sometimes I may go a bit too far. And like tomorrow.
But do you know what I see that as? I don't see that as you being in the wrong. I mean, obviously it depends what you say, because some people might say something that's just like unforgivable, but just being frustrated in the moment, I think is totally acceptable. I mean, if you come and call a player out after a game who's had a bad game or has had a bad few weeks, I think that's totally acceptable because you're a fan, you pay your money, and you're frustrated with the performance you've seen, and you should be allowed to. I don't see the problem with it myself. I really don't.
Well, you're one of not many. But that's good to hear.
Yeah. So, have you been to Goodison Park?
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Fun fact: Goodison Park is the furthest I've travelled to see Palace play.
Right. Okay.
Never gone Newcastle or anywhere more up north to watch them. It was the 12:30 kickoff just before COVID. I think it was about a month before COVID, where Roy Hodgson, I think this is still the record, he named the oldest average Premier League 11 against Everton. Yeah, and I got up at 3:30 in the morning. We had to be at Selhurst Park for 5 o'clock to get a coach up there. We got to Goodison Park at 10:30. And to watch us lose 3-1, not the best day out, to be honest with you. It was good to, have a proper away day, because I've done, I think, every away game for Palace in London. Well, I've done Brentford's old ground and Tottenham's old ground. I've not done their new ones, but I can say I've been Brentford away, Tottenham away. I've done Fulham, Chelsea, Arsenal. West Ham's the most frequent for me because they've got the biggest away end in the league, so it's easier to get tickets for it. obviously I work at Tottenham's new ground now, so I see that week in, week out. And the only other ground I've been to outside of London is Southampton. Again, to watch us lose 3-1. So it's a bit of a common trait there. So how did the
But
game
obviously,
go?
I know that won't be a great memory for you then, but just would it be in the last season of Goodison Park? I always ask everyone this: do you have a greatest memory of Goodison Park before it goes? Even if it's not like, obviously, when you were there, if it's something you remember from the past, or maybe a different game where Everton played somewhere else, I don't know.
Oh no, I've got to say the game against us, the 3-2. Again, I don't watch Everton week in, week out. I watch Match of the Day. I've
Yeah.
seen, I've probably watched Everton every week since I've been going to Palace for 10 years. But I think the best game at Goodison I've seen in an Everton point of view is the 3-2 against us. Like, to go 2-0 down in a game where it's magical, isn't it? Like, to see a team go 2-0 down where you're on the brink of relegation, and then you come back with, I think Michael Keane got the first goal with an hour gone. So you had half an hour left to save your Premier League status.
Yeah.
And that header from Calvert-Lewin, obviously, me sitting at home, I was like that. I was just, I was dumbfounded, really, and I went nuts after the game. Not necessarily on my social media kind of things because I wasn't doing TikTok massively back then. But yeah, that was good.
That game, half time was 2-0, as you said, and I was convinced at that point we were down because we had one game left, but it was away to Arsenal, and we never ever go to Arsenal and win. I can't even remember the last time we ever won at Arsenal, to be honest with you. So that was like, it was cemented for me. And a friend that was with at the time said, if we get an early goal, you just never know. And then once it went 2-2 and we got that free kick, I still didn't believe we were going to win. And my friend sitting next to me said, we're going to score here. And I just didn't believe it. And when it went in, it was kind of like, I was in shock. Do you know, like, where the euphoria?
Yeah.
I was celebrating, but it wasn't like over the top as it should have been because, I don't know, I was standing there in disbelief while watching.
The same
it's not usually something we do.
The same thing happened to me when we was in the FA Cup final against Manchester United.
I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, because
Pardew was the manager then, wasn't he?
They beat Man United beat Everton to get to the final against us.
He did. You're right, yeah.
Yeah, and I was sat right up top of the stadium, and I'm right in line. Remember the goal? Joel Ward plays the ball across the punch, and who hits it? De Gea's near post, and I'm right in line with Joel Ward in the back line, right? And Ward spanked it back post, and I think Punchin's offside. So he smacked it in. Everyone around me is going nuts.
Yeah.
And I'm just waiting for the flag. And it didn't come. And I'll look at Pardew and he does his like little dance.
His little dance, yeah.
And then
I remember.
What happened. But yeah, again, it's that state of shock. Like,
yeah.
And again, it happened as well against Tottenham when Edouard came on and scored instantly on his debut. Because I think it was his first touch of the ball pretty much. And he puts it in the bottom corner to put us 2-0 up. Our first win under Patrick Vieira. For it to go that well, again, everyone around me is going nuts. I'm like, oh my God, Edouard's just flipping scored. Like, it's that state of shock, isn't it? And it's brilliant to see in football. And, but in terms of, I actually, even though I was really angry when you got the third goal against us, it did bring a smile to my face, to be honest. At the same time, because we weren't down, but we was aiming to go to into the top half.
Yeah.
And, that sort of killed it. But at the same time, I was like, you know what? It was kind of worth it.
Yeah.
To see that, and obviously Vieira kicking one of your fans was also quite funny.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
The last game against United, when the players go around the pitch for the Black Appreciation, we're singing, oh, Patrick Vieira, he kicks who he wants. Like, all that kind of thing. So, yeah. I'd say that's my best Goodison moment I can think of.
Oh, that's great. I mean, I love that because it was us winning too. So, yeah, thank you.
No worries.
Okay, so you're happy to wrap that up there?
Yeah. We've gone double the time. So
We
great.
have. But no, I enjoyed that little chat I did.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for giving me your time anyway. I know you're probably a busy man, as we all are, so
No
I
worries.
really do
Always
appreciate
a
it.
pleasure. Always a pleasure.
Oh, thank you. It was a pleasure talking to you.
You too, mate.
Okay, see you again, hopefully.
Yeah.
I'd say good luck, but I wouldn't mean it.
No, that's Mark in next year.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Yeah, that'll be a good
Hopefully
one.
we're in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Okay, mate. See you soon.
See you soon,
Thank
mate.
you. Bye. Oh, also, I've stopped recording now, by the way.